Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Team Lead Talks podcast. I am your host, Andrew Becker, out of Alexandria, Virginia. On this episode, I have Nate Shankles from REI Automated. Nate and I met, like a few weeks ago down in Nashville at a coaching program at one of the smallest hotels I've ever been to, the Gaylord Opryland in Nashville.
It was amazing.
Yeah, we kind of just hit it off, right?
Yeah, no, it was cool. Not a small hotel, gigantic. I was
Yes.
telling my friends when I got back, it's like a mix between Pirates of the Caribbean, if you've ever been on that ride at Disneyland, Pirates of the Caribbean and the Jungle Cruise. It was like it was really cool.
It's absolutely insane. I used to work at the Pentagon,
Uh-huh.
largest
Uh-huh.
office building, and that was easier to traverse than the Opryland in Nashville.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
hotel was like absolutely nuts.
yeah. It was an indoor jungle. It was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
I was sending pictures and videos to my kids, and they're like, "How dare you go there by yourself? Why weren't we invited?" That kind of thing.
Oh, dude, we're the same. I was sending pictures to my wife, and she's like, "You're not allowed to have that much fun without me."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in case our wives are listening, it was not fun at all. Me and Nate were sitting sulking in the corner the whole time, just waiting to get home, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Something like that.
yeah,
We'll
exactly.
go with that. We'll go with that. So, anywho, Nate,
Yeah,
real quick,
yeah.
for those of you out there who might not know Nate, what he's working on, give us a high level 30,000 foot who you are, what you're doing in the real estate world.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Nate Shankles. I'm a Christian. I'm a father of three beautiful girls. I'm married to an amazing wife. I live out here in, if I tell you, you can't tell anybody. I live in Fresno, California. Well, I do live just north of there.
We'll
And
edit this out then. Yeah, we'll cut that.
yeah. No, you can leave it. I don't care.
No.
Um, I live out here in Fresno, California, and I've been real estate investing for the last 15 years. Most of it I did a few years ago. But right now I work with REI Automated with Keith Gillespie there. He's the founder and CEO. And we help real estate investors build and scale profitable real estate investing businesses, whether they're brand new starting out or whether they've been doing it for years and years and just need to kind of level up.
Very cool.
And my role specifically, I'm called a client success manager or a CSM. I'm
Mhm.
essentially the day-to-day coach for our clients after they sign up. So they come to me, they have my number and they text me or call me or set up Zoom meetings. I coach them more so on using the systems we teach than super detailed like, deal structure or how to handle seller situations, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had also the pleasure of meeting your partner Keith, who I met with last week. I'm meeting again a couple days from now. He'll be on the podcast as
Okay.
well. So we can dive a little bit deeper in that. But yeah, amazing, program that you guys run and operate. So many successful people coming through that and really killing it and growing their business. So that's basically for starter, people who are just getting into the business, or if you're even just around and you want to just optimize, right? You can
Yeah.
help anyone in any situation.
Yeah. We've helped everybody from the person who's brand new to get their first deal. In fact, this Friday, I have a brand new client, never done real estate before in his life. He's closing on his first deal on Friday. So that's
Awesome.
exciting. But we help guys like that. And then we help guys who've been in the business for literally decades. And maybe they've been like more on the mom and pop side and they want to kind of scale up and implement some systems.
Right.
Or they had a niche and they just want to kind of expand and put some more tools in their tool belt. So we've helped investors from every
Very
walk of the game.
So just to kind of like zoom out a little bit, Keith is the one that kind of has these conversations with prospects who are thinking about getting into your community. When they do decide to come on, he kind of passes them over to you, and you're the person that helps these people execute on whatever it is that you're teaching and really get into the weeds and, you know, take massive action really and actually do it and make things come to fruition, correct?
Yeah. Keith does a lot of the marketing and sales, and then as soon as they say, "Hey, I want to do this," he says, "Okay, let's get you on Nate's calendar."
Okay.
And that's when I have an onboarding call with him. We try to have that onboarding call within 24 to 48 hours.
What happens on that onboarding call, Nate?
Yeah, a lot of it is just an introduction. Really, like we're a people-centered company, people over profits. The onboarding call is where I get to know the client for the first time. Who are you? Where are you from? Why do you want to do real estate? You got a family, you got kids, what have you done so far? What do you want to do with this? And that's really most of what it is. And then I lay out the roadmap for the next 90 to 120 days for what it is they're going to be doing and how it is we're going to be helping them.
Cool. So 90 to 100 days or 120 days, is
Yep.
that the program length of time? So
Yep.
like four, what is that? 4 months?
3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months. Okay, cool. So
Exactly.
um this is for what type of like exit strategy? Do you have one specific, like, are you teaching wholesaling? Are you teaching innovation, sub two, buy and hold, buy and flip? Like, what do you do?
Great question. All different types.
Okay.
So we have a lot of clients who will do full flips, retail flips. We have a lot of clients who will do just like wholesales, like hey, let's, carpet and paint and clean it up a little bit. We probably have more clients that are wanting to wholesale right now, especially newer clients coming in. They don't have a lot of cash. Wholesale is usually the quickest way to put a little bit of money in the bank.
Yeah, very short sales cycle on a wholesale deal.
Yeah,
And hey,
comparatively.
just for those listening right now who might not know what wholesale versus wholetail is, do you mind describing the differences there?
Sure. Whole tail means you would take title to the property and just get it in saleable condition. You're not getting it to full retail value, right? Like it's not Joanna Gaines pretty, but you could put it on the MLS and someone might say, "Oh yeah, that's a decent house. Let's go take a look."
Hmm.
Whereas wholesale would be, I don't even take title to the property. I simply put it under contract and then I go find an end buyer for that agreement.
So you're selling the contract rights to that property to a real end buyer is what would.
Yes, yeah, assigning those rights to an end.
So wholetail is when you actually buy it yourself, do whatever you're going to do to it, and put
Yeah,
it right back on the market.
yeah, 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 exactly. So there's, I think the idea with that is there's not a lot of effort you've got to put into it from a like renovation standpoint,
Right.
whereas if you went, full ARV, you've got to, take it to the nines most of the
Sure.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do wholesale. We have taught a lot of clients how to take properties subject to, and then that's an entrance strategy. But then to exit that with a wrap, like seller financing.
Hmm. Do you want to describe subject to, just in case people don't know?
Sure, yeah. So that's where you essentially take over the existing mortgage, but it
Hmm.
stays in the seller's name,
Yeah.
and then you make payments on that. So it's like built-in financing.
Like an
And
assumable mortgage type of thing.
yeah, but you're not assuming it because assuming it is putting it in your own
In your
name.
own name. It's a
Right.
version of it, but you get to keep
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
What's the the benefit of doing that? Keeping the interest rate down sometimes, or
Yeah.
ideally.
Well, so I mean, let's say you're buying a property that someone bought 5 or 10 or even 15 years ago. What were the interest rates then?
Yeah, like
That's
very,
yeah,
very low.
yeah, that's the real value of it. And then, you're essentially taking over that financing, but it's not in your name. So it's not in your name. So anyways, those are some of the benefits I think to sub two.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's great.
So how does someone decide when someone comes in, like just to real estate in general? You meet with a lot of people in this scenario, right? Like
Yeah,
there's so many things to do. You could be an agent and list it at, underneath a brokerage.
yeah,
You can buy and hold, buy and flip, buy
yeah,
and do whatever, wholesale, wholesale.
yeah.
Like what are you coaching people if there's a newbie, like the path to least resistance to like the first revenue, or like how do you decide what to do?
Yeah. Well, one of the first things we talk about is marketing. So we talk about their budget for marketing. And depending on their budget is really going to determine what kind of marketing they're going to do. That's going to help us decide what markets they're going to be in. Are they going to be in, multiple markets, or are they just going to stay local?
Oh, do
And
you
then,
teach nationwide as well, not just like local area?
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
nice.
Most of our clients are not just local. I won't say most of them are nationwide, but most of
Right.
them are not just local. They're in
Okay.
several states or several counties. So yeah, we definitely we teach that.
Cool. So Nate, if someone has no budget, what are you teaching them to do versus someone who has a, a healthy budget? Let's leave it at that. The two
Yeah.
extremes.
Yeah. Okay. So no budget. We're going to be doing like, well, okay. Everybody has some budget, right? No budget, you can go to Zillow and you can pick a market and you can sort by like newest to oldest
Hmm.
and then sort by, maybe it's owner, what do they call it? Owner posted, FISBO, for sale
Yeah.
by owner. And then you can start at the bottom of that list because that's the oldest listings and
Yeah.
just start calling. That's literally free, right?
So
It's
making
out.
offers and trying to pick up FISBOs.
Yes, exactly. And you can do that with realtor listed properties too. Realtors that have properties listed for a long time, they want to get
Yep.
rid of them too.
Yep.
So that's like totally free. But we also teach bandit signs. Like you can buy bandit signs and put those up, and there's a strategy to those, and we have a course on how to use those. And so
Hmm.
that would be like low budget or no budget marketing. And then
Our
if you
first
have,
ever marketing effort, Nate,
yeah,
back in like 2013 was bandit signs.
yeah,
We
how
had
was it?
no money for anything else, but we put up bandit signs at like 3 or 4 a.m. in different neighborhoods
Yeah.
across like Maryland, DC, and Virginia before going to work or like school or doing whatever we had to do. Taking me back, man.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what Keith talks about in the course. Back when he was first starting and doing bandit signs at 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Yeah, yeah. So that would be like the low, no budget marketing
Yeah.
and we also just we're partnering with actually Keith is developing a program called Deal Labs, which essentially scrapes data from Zillow and from other sources and organizes it just like I said, been on market the longest,
Yeah.
and uses AI to basically determine which are going to be the most highest potential leads for a deal.
Cool.
And it provides you the script there to use, and so that's cheap. That's less than like $100 a month.
Okay.
So that's another kind of low/no budget marketing tool that we've just developed and are starting to implement.
Very cool.
If you want to look at like middle of the road budget, we would say PPL, pay per lead.
Okay.
We
And
have
what's that? What's PPL?
Yeah, so I guess to talk about that knowledgeably, you have to talk a little bit about PPC. So
Right.
PPC
Yeah.
is
True.
pay per click, right? So that's where somebody is running a Google Ads campaign to generate motivated leads, right? Someone who comes to Google and says, I need to sell my house fast.
Yeah.
And so those leads are generated via pay per click through a Google Ads campaign.
Yeah.
And then a PPL or a pay per lead provider takes all those and then essentially auctions them off
Mhm.
to real estate investors. So as a real estate investor, if you've got, $1,000 to $1,500 a month, maybe up to 2,000 or 2,500, we would say that's probably going to be your best
Yeah.
bang for your buck.
And for those listening, there is a direct connection between PPL and PPC, but the benefit here is someone else is putting up the big budget and having the stomach to go through a PPC campaign, and you're just buying one or
Yeah.
two here or there. And
Yep.
depending on where you are, could be anywhere from $100 to maybe $300 per lead. So you get the benefit of saying, "Hey, I want to buy 2 leads this week," or not anything, and then you
Yeah.
don't spend any of your money. But in PPC, if you want to compete, you got to spend a lot of money.
Yes. And typically, unless you're going to do it yourself, you got to pay an ads manager, and that's not cheap. So PPC is more expensive. And on PPL and the cost per lead, I've seen leads as low as like $30 or $50,
Yeah.
depending on where they are and
Right.
what's going
Yeah.
on with that PPL seller at the time.
Yep.
But you can get them relatively inexpensive there.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So are you also, when people are having success through your program, are you also coaching them to get into PPC when they can afford it? Like what are your, I guess, for
100%.
lack of a better description, your rock star students
Yeah.
getting into at the high optimized scalable level?
100% going with PPC. It is the most effective, most efficient long-term play for quality leads.
Hands down, dude. We've we've had PPC as our number one lead source for the last, I don't even know, decade, I think.
Yes, no, it's same with Keith's business, and it's the same with our students. Most motivated leads, like if I were to put PPL PPC and bandit signs up next to each other, 9 times out of 10, PPL rises to the top as motivated. Just they're more qualified.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of the marketing. You go over, you have this marketing. What can you afford? What are you looking
Yeah.
to do? Like, what are your goals and dreams kind of conversation? But
Yeah.
then, like, where does the nitty gritty actually come into play? Like, what are you
Oh, yeah.
telling them to do the first week after you have this amazing conversation, get everyone hyped? Like, what's the, like,
3
I'm in
words.
your program. What, oh, you, yeah, go ahead.
3 words. Dial, dial, dial.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, especially for newer investors, I think there's a little bit of fear of getting on the phone, of maybe not knowing exactly what to say. I mean, we provide them with scripts to help guide them for each of the conversations they're going to have. But you know how conversations go. They can be challenging, and sticking to a script can be a little bit challenging. So the biggest thing, especially early on, is just get on the phones and get on them fast.
Can I ask a
Speed,
question about that, Nate? Because
please
I
do.
like sharing tactical level action items that people listening can take away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I come in, I say, my dream is to do X, Y, and Z. You say, cool, you can afford PPL, but I want you to dial, dial, dial. Are you giving me a dialer? Am I dialing with my cell phone? Am I going out and finding a dialer? Like the
Question.
actual execution of dialing,
Great question.
how are you telling people to get organized around that? Because it can be pretty crazy and chaotic if you don't have a system in place. So what are you telling people there?
Yeah. So if you have the monthly budget for it, we use smartphone, and so we would send people there to get a dialer,
Okay.
sign up for their system, and that's what's integrated with our CRM is
Okay.
smartphone. But we have folks who don't have the CRM, right, and who are dialing. And so again, depending on their monthly budget, if they're just starting out and they don't have the budget for it, then we just tell them just use your cell phone.
Okay.
Use your cell phone and dial. And then we have a KPI tracking sheet that they're using. And we know that if they call X number of leads and they get this percentage to answer or not, if they're below a certain amount, there's probably a problem with their phone number. And
Mm-hmm.
then we'll go and we'll address that. Okay, you need to get a new number, or you
Right.
really need to sign up for smartphone, et cetera.
Okay. Yeah. At the end, I've had this conversation a lot, but it's tracking your KPIs. How important is that, especially if you're dialing? What is that? What does that eventually get to tell you guys?
Yeah. So Keith used to, well, it wasn't Keith, it was somebody else used to say, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And Keith, he likes to go to the next level. He goes, if you don't know your numbers, you don't have a business. You
Right.
have a hobby.
Yeah.
And so that is how we diagnose what's wrong with the acquisition side of your business. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, if you don't have your KPIs, it's like going to a blind doctor. Like, how can he see what's going on or know what's going? You can't.
Right.
So it's really critical. It's really critical for newer, especially newer investors, to track their KPIs so that they know what's happening in their business.
Yeah, let's talk about a few of those because that is super important. And it's really crazy to me, I think, when you don't start tracking. Like, if you're aware of this, you should be tracking it, whether it's on a spreadsheet or ours is just all automated
Yeah.
today to make it super easy. But what are some of the KPIs you guys are looking for to say, hey, you know, you're not getting the production that you want, and then you kind of like work backwards, but walk us through what that looks like.
So the first thing we start with is cost per lead, especially with a PPC campaign that can identify for us. You know, it's going to start out expensive, but over time it should get cheaper. And if it's not, then there's a problem. And we want to go back to our ads manager and say, hey, we need to work on this. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing we track. Then we track leads generated, obviously, and leads connected. And we define a lead connected as someone who has responded. We don't care how they responded, just that they responded. And if
Okay.
we're below a certain point, we know that there's a problem either with the leads or with our generation system. So that's a big one. And then where the investor really comes in, and this is the first one where it's like, hey, you need to, pick up some slack here, is with that first phone call. And so we're measuring, okay, let's say you got 10 leads. Let's say 7 of them responded. How many of those 7 did you have a conversation with? And we know that if you've had a conversation with less than 5 of them, either you're not getting in touch with them within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's critical. I mean, you do the research on that. It's like after 30 minutes, there's a 70% decreased
Yeah, it's
chance.
like after 2 minutes, dude. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. So we say 5 minute speed to lead. They need to be triple dialing their leads every time that they call them. And the third thing is they need to be calling those leads literally every day. Yeah, the lead came in yesterday and they didn't answer. I don't care. Call today.
Yeah.
And you're going to call tomorrow, and you're going to call tomorrow, and you're going to call tomorrow. Take a
'Cause
break on the weekends if you want to. Okay.
right.
But
Because guess what, people? If you aren't calling your leads that you, especially the ones you don't get a hold of, guess who will be calling them? I will be calling them.
that's
You
right.
will be calling them. Someone's going to be calling them. Because if they submit information to you, what's the likelihood of them submitting information to another you? Two or
Hi.
three other yous. Pretty
Hi.
high, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, and then after that, we're looking at how many of those leads were qualified, right? That first conversation we have with them, we want to determine if it's a qualified lead, the numbers work, and they're motivated.
Okay. What is a qualified lead in your book?
The numbers work and they're motivated. So
Okay. I think I missed that.
yeah,
My bad.
in our script, in the as you're going through it, right, the investor is typing in information about the property, but they're also
Right.
inputting some of the numbers, right? We've got a dirty ARV, which is basically like, hey, we just went to Zillow and a couple other places and
Right.
averaged. And then we've got what we think repairs are going to be, et cetera. So all these things we call them dirty because obviously there's not a lot of research that has gone into them yet. It's first
Right.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of the script, it's going to say, hey, is there walk away beneath this number? And if it is, cool. They're qualified, right? We're going to go to the next level. And then there's the big 5 motivators. Help me out on this one. Inheritance, divorce, health and safety, tired landlord, and there's one more. But anyways, if they fall into those big 5,
Foreclosure, absentee.
yeah,
Like that.
I think that's what it is. If they fall into one of those big 5 motivators, then and the numbers work, then they are a qualified lead.
Cool. Okay. And then what do you coach them to do? I'm a qualified lead. You're talking to me. Like, what are the next steps? Do you do virtual appointment walkthroughs? Do you go in person? Like, what are you telling your guys to
Well,
do?
first thing we do, if you're a qualified lead, we're going to run them through our deal analyzer, which is pretty comprehensive. And we're going to determine, what's best entrance strategy, what's best exit strategy, what are you looking at and far of in terms of potential profit based on different entrance and exit strategies. And then we're going to hop on that second call and essentially negotiate the agreement.
Okay. So there's like this dirty number, kind of high level, not too much time and effort into it,
Yeah.
just to see, okay, are we even close?
Right.
I say, yes, I'm in pre-foreclosure and I'm moving to California. I want this house sold yesterday. Then you take it through like a very detail-oriented, what can we acquire this property for? What are our strategies, exit strategies to move forward with it? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So you do that and you come up with you need my house for 350. Then you have the second call. Are you sending paper? Are you sending a paper contract to my house that I have to FedEx and send back? Are you doing it over the phone? Like, how do you get a contract signed?
We actually send it by carrier pigeon. Usually takes no, just kidding.
I was gonna ask that. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
third very secret unknown of version.
yeah. That's how we do so well.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So sometimes in that second conversation with the seller, where we are essentially negotiating the agreement, sometimes we find out information about the property that didn't come out in the first conversation, and it's like this is no longer a viable option.
Viable. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was never qualified. We just never had the information in the first conversation.
Right.
And sometimes we move forward with the agreement, and so at the end of the conversation, we are sending them an agreement, usually via DocuSign.
Okay.
And we want to keep them on the phone while we are.
Why do you want to keep them on the phone, Nate? This is a huge lesson right here.
Because they won't sign if they hang up and go talk to their wife, or if they hang up and they go, let me think about it. And so one of the things we like to say is, most people don't need more time. They need more information. What other information can I provide for you that would help you make this decision? Mm-hmm. It's like, I immediately thought of a car dealership and a car sales. Why do they want to keep you in the dealership? Because if you go home or you go to another dealership, you're not going to buy from them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, strike while the iron is hot.
That's right. That 100%. 100%. So.
Yeah. I remember Keith when I was talking to him in Nashville. I forget what specifically we were talking about, but he's like, just try to remove all the hurdles up front by getting out in front of any objections, right? So you say the objection and not them. So, it's harder for them to say, oh, well, shoot, you already kind of like busted that one for me, so I'm not really sure
Yeah.
what to do from here.
Keith is really good at that, but you're absolutely right. Get out ahead of him.
So you teach, or this point of the teaching scenario that we're in,
Yeah.
you've acquired a property. Do you
Mhm.
also teach disposition and how to sell the property or exit the property?
Yeah, we provide them with resources to do that. So let's say they put a property under contract. We have several very detailed lists about what comes next. What do you do during the due diligence phase? Well, we've got a checklist for that that's very detailed. And then we have 6 or 7 different exit strategy checklists. So, hey, I think that I'm going to wrap this property. Okay, we're going to go through the due diligence checklist, which we do on every property. And then we're also going to start working on your wrap exit checklist as well.
Okay.
So we walk them through that process, and we have office hours 3 times a week. And office hours is basically a 1 hour to 90-minute phone call where Keith, who really he's just got a ton of knowledge and experience, and is a caring person and wants to help. He gets on this call with a lot of other investors from our group,
Okay.
and people just ask questions. And so I'm bringing that in because once a person has a property under contract and they're working through the due diligence process, or maybe they've already taken title to it and they're working on like getting it ready to disposition, then a lot of times they'll hop on those calls with Keith and several other investors and get their questions answered
Cool.
from those who've done this process,
And then
dozens.
everyone can learn. Even if you don't have a deal, people can just kind of be flies on the wall and hear what, Nate is having problems with, and then Keith will walk him through how to solve it.
Yes, 100%. The biggest indicator of someone who's going to have success in our program is whether or not they come to office hours regularly. That's where you get the encouragement that you need. That's where you get the like really nuanced questions that, there's a lot of things I can't answer. And so I'll say, maybe take that one to Keith.
Yeah.
They can get those questions answered. Or sometimes Keith can't answer them, although that's not very often. And so we have other investors on the call who've done dozens or some of them even hundreds of deals.
Yeah.
And if you're a new investor, you bring your question to that call, you're gonna get it answered.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where the rubber meets the road. You can give anyone a course, but are they actually going to do it and execute on it? And most likely the ones that show up to school and class, right, will be better off than the ones that don't.
100%.
Yeah. Very cool, dude. Well, if anyone wants to learn more about your all's program or just talk to you, Nate, because you're a cool guy, and maybe they just want to talk to you about Fresno, California, or anything like that, how can one locate you guys? Where are you?
Yeah, reiautomated.io is our website. You can get a hold of us there. You can contact me, Nate, at reiautomated.io. Yeah, get a hold of us that way.
Cool.
Yeah, we'd love to help.
We'll include all of Nate's contact information in the description of the episode as well. Nate, I'm taking this from Tom's Playbook, and I had him on my podcast, and I told him I was doing this. So what he normally does or did at the end of his podcast were, what's one resource, one book, one whatever that you can give away to anyone listening at the end of this episode that could help them in their life, in their business, just as a human in general, that you can share with us today?
Oh, well, the first thing, there are 2 things that came to mind. I'll give you 2, right?
Yeah.
Number 1, if you're looking for life, the Bible. Number 2, for your business, there's a book called Traction.
Love that book.
And if as a business owner, real estate investor, you read that book and you implement what it teaches, you will get traction.
Yeah, that's a super, for those of you who don't know Traction, it's a super basically business fundamentals book that teaches you how to set yourself up for success and tracking and kind of everything that you would need to know to be a good business practicer, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Very cool. Well, Nate, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate your time. Real quick, are you going to be in? Are you going to Orlando next year for the next event? Will I see you again?
Let's see. Let's ask Keith that question. I'd love to go.
Right.
So we'll ask Keith.
I'll push for you, dude.
Okay, sounds good, brother.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
man. Take care.
All right, take care.